Looking at this season, there was a lot of press conferences where you were not letting us talk about how great this defense has been. How does keeping that accountability and making sure they don't get complacent matter this season?
I mean, you don't get this game. You don't get any points for being great in the past. It's really all about living in the moment, and that's how I've tried to tell them is we have to prove ourselves every week, and you never know how the game's going to go. And you have to have the mentality that we'll do whatever it takes defensively to win the game. There can't be any parameters on that, or well, if this happens, then we'll do this. No, there's got to be a in the moment, whatever it takes to win.
And this defense, there's been some re-engineering and some shifts since the last matchup against Oregon. And I know that Oregon game was talked about a lot on the defensive side, but it's come so far since that game. How has your confidence changed going into this rematch?
I've always been confident, and we had a subpar game, and but you got to give them credit too. They're really good. They're a really good offense, and they played well. I think it just showed us some issues that we had, uh, and that it's my job to fix those. And the players buy in and they trust the process. And I think maybe it gave us a renewed enthusiasm to win the game on defense. And to uh, nobody enjoyed being pointed to as the reason that you lose a game. So I think they took that to heart and they just said, hey, that's not going to happen again.
But since that game, there's been several games where the defense had a very strong performance finishing it. But we've heard many of the guys say, we're not going to, give the offense a hard time. We need to win the game on defense, even holding Michigan and impressive performance against these top five matchups. But how does it matter when you look at this matchup with Oregon? Oregon hasn't had those top five matchups down the stretch until that Penn State game, but Ohio State's been tested throughout the remainder since that last matchup. So you talked a lot about experience. How does that matter? Having to play in those high pressure moments come and matter a lot in this one coming up.
It gives you confidence. You take things from the past that you did well, and you own them, and you take things that you didn't do and you learn from it. So it's all a process. So I think you can really benefit from being in those positions, and you understand what it's like and what it takes.
How much does experience matter in playoffs like this?
Um,
Because you
I
look at
think
it
yeah,
like
that's
Jeremiah.
yeah. I mean that's $1 million question, right? I mean who knows really? You really don't know until you play the game, and these games go so many different ways, so anything can really happen.
And
You hope that the experience, prepares you for whatever happens because you don't know what's going to happen.
yeah, and you look at the extended playoff, there's extra games and having to prepare for that all season. How has that changed things compared to years past?
I think you have to prepare your team and when you practice and you work for the fact that it's a long season. So you better take care of them and take care of their bodies.
And with an extended playoff, you have more games to look at. And you talked about staying at the Woody late and don't overthink it. Don't beat yourself. How does making sure you don't beat your own self in this matchup matter with such a great opponent?
Yeah, you I do a lot on my own that never gets to the players or the coaches. So I try to get all those demons out and all those questions answered on my own, so that when I talk to them, it's just simpler and calmer.
And finally, this dynamic of player to coach relationship is very unique at this university. We heard players saying that they held their coaches accountable, and that's such an open line of communication. How is that unique to other universities you've been to?
Yeah, it's unique because these guys are such great players and highly recruited, and they really want to know, and they should, like, how are you going to make me better? How are you going to contribute to and enhance my career and talent? That's the questions they should be asking because they're in that position where they're elite. So it puts coaches to the challenge. I mean, you better know your stuff and you better have answers. Um, because when you do, of course, they're great kids and you know there's a lot of love and respect. But you can't come here and not be on your A game.
Thank you so much, Coach, and best of luck this weekend.